Coming up on this week's episode of American Airgunner, Crystal and I demonstrate some cool tools that can help you become a better shooter. Also to come, the cast and crew roll up their sleeves and pitch in to help build our first Mini Sniping diorama. And later on, some tips and tricks for keeping your airguns in tip-top shape. American Airgunner is sponsored by Pyramid Air. Airguns are not just for kids anymore. Umarex, your premium airgun supplier. And these fine sponsors. All right, we're going to start out today's show by talking about one of the most important tools here on American Airgunner, and that's our chronograph. A chronograph measures the speed of a projectile, and that helps us determine if our airguns are working properly. A chronograph works very simply. It has two sensors, one in the front, one in the back, and what these sensors do is detect the shadow of a projectile passing over it, and then it calculates how long it takes to get from the front sensor to the back sensor. It also consists of another part, which is our readout screen, and this stores the information about all the pellets we've been shooting. The chronograph also gives us other important information, including the average velocity. It gives us the extreme spread, which is the difference in velocity from the fastest pellet to the slowest pellet, and also the standard deviation, the average difference in velocity from pellet to pellet. Now, there are a few tricks to using a chronograph properly, and that's what I'm here to show you today. The most important thing to remember for using a chronograph properly is to have the right lighting. The best place by far to do this is outdoors. It's also safer. We have these diffusers on here, and these are used when you have the chronograph in direct sunlight. Also, you want to remember not to have your chronograph in partial shade and partial light, or you're going to get errors. Make sure it's either in shade or in the light. Also, I found that when using air guns with a chronograph, you have to make sure that your pellet is passing over the sensors at the proper height. Too high and you might not get a reading, too low you might get an error, and I'll try to reproduce that for you at the bench. Also, remember to always wear your safety glasses. You're shooting at a metal object from about 2 or 3 feet away. I've seen guys open up their chronies, take their first shot at it, and boom, this thing is gone. So wear your eye protection. Let's go back to the bench and I'll show you some more tips on how to use a chronograph properly. Okay, I have my chronograph set up about 2 feet from the muzzle of the air rifle, and I'm going to be placing my hand on this bag rest here. And what I'll do is bring the height of the muzzle to where I think it's proper. It looks about 3 inches above the sensors there. Now, if you notice, I have a scope on the rifle, but I'm not going to be using that. There's no way I can look through this scope and be sure that the pellet is traveling over those sensors at the proper height. So what I'll do is go ahead and shoot 10 shots over the chrony, and we'll see the results. Okay, I'm going to try to get my hand in the same position every time. That gives the best results. So I have my rifle lined up right over the sensors, and I'll take my first shot. There we go, 541 feet per second. Again, put my hand in the same position. Just peek my head over the side here, make sure that the height is good. Then I'll peek over here to make sure that my line of sight is good. There we go, 543 feet per second. This is a 22 caliber Beeman HW97. This is a beautifully made German underlever air rifle. Very accurate and has a really nice fit and finish. This is actually the first time I'm using this air rifle. All right, that looks good. Take my third shot. 545, and then just go on from there until I get to 10 shots. Okay, I'll take my last shot here, and then we'll print out the results. There we go, 553. A ballistic printer is a great thing to have. It helps you keep a record of all your strings, and you can refer back to them just to make sure your air guns are working properly. Two of the buttons that we usually use here are the statistics button, which gives us the extreme spread, the average, and the standard deviation. We also have a statistics and velocity button here, which throws in the velocity figures for us as well. So I'll go ahead and press that and wait for it to print out. Well, it looks like this Beeman HW97K is shooting really nicely. If you look at the numbers here, we have a low velocity of 541, a high of 553, an average of 546, an extreme spread of only 12 feet per second, and a standard deviation of 4.12 feet per second. That's showing that this air gun is shooting very consistently. So the next thing we're going to do is give you a tip on how to use a chronograph and CO2 air guns. When using a chronograph to test CO2 air rifles and air pistols, there's one thing you have to keep in mind. You have to have the chronograph at the proper distance away from the muzzle. When you fire an air rifle like this 850 Air Magnum, for instance, the blast of CO2 gas will go over the sensors and cause an error. Let me take a shot and I'll show you what I mean. And there we have it, error 2. Once again, that's because the blast of CO2 gas is going right over the sensor. Well, it looks like we have our chronograph set up at the proper distance to prevent the CO2 muzzle blast from affecting those sensors. Meanwhile, we have another important tool to show you that we use here on American Airgunner, and to demonstrate, let's go over to Crystal.
Many of you firearm enthusiasts are probably familiar with a recoil-reducing shooting sled like this one, but what you might not have known is that it's an indispensable tool for airgunners as well. There's no better accessory ready right out of the box for bench testing your pre-charged pneumatic air rifles. By using a recoil-reducing shooting sled with air rifles that have very little recoil, you're able to lock down your rifle, make precision sighting adjustments, and test the accuracy of your guns and ammo. The Airforce Edge is a 3-position sporter class rifle that makes a great candidate to demonstrate how helpful using a shooting sled is. I have a target set up at 10 meters, so let's lock it down and take some shots. The first thing you want to do is place the rifle in the sled. When doing so, make sure that the butt of the rifle is pressed firmly against the back of the sled. Next, just eyeball your rifle to make sure that it's level and not crooked. Take the Velcro strap and place it firmly over the rifle. Feed the strap through the slot and pull tight. I'm ready to go. Now that my rifle is locked down, I'll need to make adjustments to both windage and elevation to make sure that I'm on target. To do that, all I need to do is turn this knob to change elevation. Okay, and for windage, I'm just going to move the base of the sled. Okay, in case you were wondering, these knobs can be used for fine adjustments when leveling the sled. I've already adjusted the peep sights on the edge and we're sighted in, so what I'm looking for with this test is consistency. The sled allows both the ammunition and the rifle to perform to their fullest potential without any interference from me. Today I'll be using the RWS R10 Match Plus pellets. Let's see how I do. Well, as you can see from the results, both the Edge and the R10 pellets are doing a really great job. Now that I've found the right pellet, I'll have the confidence I need when practicing my 10-meter shooting. Some of you might be wondering, can I test my spring-powered air rifles with a shooting sled? Well, not just any Springer, and to explain why, let's go over to Paul.
That is just a fantastic group of 5 pellets. One hole. It looks like Crystal found the right ammo for that Airforce Edge, and she's ready to shoot 3-position Sporter class rifle. Now, because that rifle had no recoil, it made it a great candidate for putting inside that shooting sled. If I were to try that with, say, a break barrel air rifle, there's no way I was going to get the same results. You just can't fight the tremendous power of the mainspring and piston as it slams home to fire a pellet down range. There are, however, exceptions in the world of spring-powered air guns, and one of them is the RWS Model 54. This has a built-in anti-recoil system, and I bet if I were to put this in the shooting sled and shoot a group down range, it would be pretty good. It also makes it a good candidate for mounting a bipod. I have a Caldwell Universal bipod on here, and this is a great little bipod for any rifle, firearm, air gun that has a swivel stud on the forestock. I always thought that the Model 54 was a great bench gun, and I've never tried it using a bipod. I've always used a bag rest. So let me shoot a group down range and see how we do. You'll notice when I cock the rifle that the action is going to move forward in the stock. That's the anti-recoil system resetting itself, preparing for the next shot. There we go, and move forward it's about a ½ inch. Well, it seems to be a pretty good height off the bench. I can just cross my arms here like this and settle in. Well, now I know why a lot of Model 54 owners put bipods in their gun. It turns it into a real bench shooting air rifle. The results I got were pretty good. It seems like that group could be covered with a dime. When we come back after the break, the crew and I create the ultimate mini sniping diorama. Well, it's raining outside, and what better time for a rainy day project? Here's the scenario. You've got your air gun sighted in, you can shoot a dime at 40 yards, but where's the fun in shooting a dime? Enter mini sniping. Mini sniping is all about shooting small objects at about 40 yards. For instance, hitting this empty 9mm shell at 40 yards is the equivalent of hitting a deer at 1,300 yards. But these shells aren't that much fun to shoot at. That's why we're going to build ourselves a reusable diorama and go dinosaur hunting. All right, we're gonna make this real easy for you. The first thing I did here was crumple up some newspaper, then cover it with this plastic garden netting material, and then just staple that down to a board. Our first step is to cover the entire thing in a couple layers of plaster. Let's get to it. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is cover the entire board in a nice thick layer of plaster of Paris, and then build up some thinner layers of plaster and really build up that terrain. Now when you're mixing plaster, I like to add the plaster to the water instead of the other way around. It's a trick I learned from some sculptor friends of mine. Now that we have our base completely covered in plaster, it's time to add some details. That's the best part about this project, is you can keep it as simple as you want, or you can go elaborate like I'm gonna do. As a matter of fact, I have these rubber rock molds. These are used for model train scenery. What I did was pour some automotive body filler inside of it, wait for it to harden, pop it out. There you have an instant rock face. This is really cool stuff. Now, you don't have to do this all by yourself. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna invite some friends to help out. I remember being a kid and just getting, all the time, just getting dirt from gravel from outside to build dioramas. Why are you bringing dirt into the house for? It's not dirt. What do you mean it's not dirt? Well, okay, this is what we have so far. After gluing down all the little bits and pieces, the rocks, the gravel, we let it dry overnight, then I took it outside and I spray painted it using camouflage colors, green and brown and black. The next step is to drill holes all over our miniature set. And then we're gonna hot glue drinking straws inside those holes, and that's for holding our foliage. That's right, we're gonna go outside and collect ferns and little bits of leaves, stick them inside those holes. That'll really complete our prehistoric jungle scene. Then we're gonna shoot some dinosaurs. Gotta have the tar pit.
Ready?
Oh, yep. Let's have a free-for-all.
Okay. That wind.
Ooh, yeah, it's really moving.
Yep.
Nice one.
Nice. Did you get it?
No. Ooh, nice. I think you cut it in half.
Yeah.
Got it.
Nice.
Nice. Oh, you sent that into orbit. That was great. So a bit of dust kick up there.
Yeah.
Well, Crystal, it looks like we suffered a little bit of damage on our diorama, but that's easily fixed, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. All you really need to do is mix up some plaster, patch up your holes, and do some touch-up painting.
That's right, and the great thing about this is you can change the environment. Pour some sand on it, you have an underwater fish hunt. Get some plastic fish, you can paint it red, and it can be the surface of Mars, and you're hunting aliens. I think we're gonna revisit this diorama on a future show.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear you? Hello? Yeah, no, I just wanted to let you know that I'm not gonna make dinner. No, I don't know. It's no secret that offhand is the most difficult position to shoot from. Hunters have been using shooting sticks for years to help with accuracy in the field, and they make a great shooting aid for airgunners as well. I have a pair of Caldwell shooting sticks here. They're made out of aluminum, and they're really easy to set up. All I need to do is basically shake the sticks, and the elastic inside will lock them into place. Since I didn't do so well at this distance offhand, I'm going to try it again with the sticks to see how I do. I have the Avonix Rainstorm here. It's a .22 caliber pre-charged pneumatic with very little recoil. So when I'm using it with the shooting sticks, all I need to do is place it directly in the notch of the sticks. I'm then going to place my hand over the sticks to steady them. It's also really easy to adjust height. All I need to do is move the sticks out or bring them together depending on how high I want the rifle. If I were using a hold sensitive rifle, I would want to place my hand or wrist right in the notch and put the rifle on my hand. This way, I'm using an artillery hold when I'm shooting. Since I didn't do so well shooting at this distance offhand, I'm going to try with the sticks and see how I do. Let me tell you, that was a lot easier. Shooting sticks are inexpensive, lightweight, and probably the best way to improve your accuracy while shooting out in the field.
Brontosaurus. Tastes like chicken.
A few weeks ago, a viewer suggested that we do a show on airgun maintenance. So today, I'm here to show you how to keep your airgun working safely, properly, and looking great for years. And if you noticed, I checked to make sure that my airgun was unloaded, uncocked, and pointed in a safe direction before I got started. It's fair to say the most popular airguns are brake barrels. This RWS Model 34 is easy to maintain because of its simple design. If you're familiar with firearms, you know that moisture and humidity can be your gun's worst enemy because it can lead to rust and corrosion. Many airguns actually share the same fine finish as firearms and need to be taken care of the same way. It's important to always clean your airguns after using them by removing any oil that may have been left on the barrel from your fingertips, in addition to taking off any water that may have gotten on your gun from rain, because your airgun can rust as quickly as overnight. Had this RWS Model 34 been caught in the rain, I would first take the stock screws out. Next, I'm going to take the action out. Once the action is out, I'm going to go ahead and wipe down all the metal parts thoroughly with a product made specifically for firearm finishes. It's always a good idea to keep your screws, washers, and small parts in a safe place until you're ready to reassemble. Now, you wouldn't want to put this cleaned and oiled down action back into a damp stock, so make sure that you give the wood plenty of time to dry, even if that means leaving it overnight. Without having to disassemble your airgun further than we have here, you can easily lubricate the moving parts on your brake barrel. I have a small jar of moly paste here, made specifically for metal-to-metal moving contact points. You only need a small amount of molybdenum disulfide to last a lifetime, so you can even ask your local auto mechanic for a little bit the next time you bring your car in. Just a small amount of moly paste on the cocking linkage and cocking shoe. Should be enough to last a really long time and keep those metal parts working really smoothly.
Well, Crystal, this has definitely been an interesting episode.
Yeah, I'd say it's been pretty different.
For American Airgunner, my name is Paul Capello.
And I'm Crystal Ackley.
And until next time, I think I'm standing in a big pile of dinosaurs.
Shoot safe and have fun.